If you were forced to travel back in time, let's say 2000 years, and you were forced to participate in a battle between, two massive armies, and you were allowed to take one modern weapon with you, which weapon would you take?
If it were an ideal situation, I would bring the internet
Okay.
because the internet is so divisive. I would just get like the translator on both sides and just tell them, look at this. You see, you guys are arguing for almost no reason.
Whoa,
You know?
dude. Mate.
My Wi-Fi died.
Welcome to We Need to Talk, where we try to figure out how to find fulfillment in life and reduce dissatisfaction. Listen to this full episode if you'd like to hear our answer to the question of if you could take one modern day weapon back to, let's say, medieval times, which weapon would you take? We also discuss the psychologically manipulative nature of marketing nowadays and how it might also be the cause of our strong consumerist culture. Finally, we also discuss how having an interdisciplinary background places you in an upper echelon in most domains of life, and how it basically enables you to produce more sophisticated outcomes, let's say, because you're more grounded with the duality of reality in some sense. So enjoy this episode and don't forget to subscribe. Let's go. If you were forced to travel back in time, let's say 2000 years, and you were forced to participate in a battle between, two massive armies, and you were allowed to take one modern weapon with you, which weapon would you take?
Okay, so I actually prepared two answers for this question, or actually, I thought of two answers to this question. The first one would be a bit more of a realistic. If I was in a fight situation, I would take a sniper. So basically, the thing is that generally speaking, historically, if you were to snipe out the main important figures in a battle on the opposing side, your troops would lose morale and they'd be more likely to surrender. So you save a lot of bloodshed that way. That's one. The second thing is if it were an ideal situation, I would bring the internet because the internet is so divisive. I would just get like the translator on both sides and just tell them, look at this. You see, you guys are arguing for almost no reason.
Whoa, dude.
You know? It ties back to the point earlier, like you guys are squabbling just because of like something pointless, most likely.
Dude. Oh, that's next level. Man, if you brought that answer to a job interview, I think people would hire you immediately, dude. Like that.
I hope somebody asked it during a job interview.
Dude.
I love quirky questions.
I actually wanted to ask you the question because I think it says a lot about your thought processes and the way your mind works. And dude, that says a lot about you, an answer like that. Because I tend to think, because I like to sort of fantasize about this, if you're just bored,
about being in a war in 0 BC.
Yes, well, maybe 1000 BC even, but just having like a minigun on a
1000 BC or 80?
No,
like
BC.
So like 1000 years before Christ. Okay.
Yeah. And you just have, a minigun on or like a turret, and you just mow down.
But what would be the point?
Fun.
Fun? Wow, that's psychopathic.
No, I mean, obviously in a video game, I mean, in real life, I definitely agree with, murder is not good. Even if it's in war, I think killing is
unacceptable.
Pardon?
It's not, because the thing is that if you think about it, right, like everybody who's fighting these wars usually are not there by their own choice. And once again, it's the governments who are sort of fighting the war. The people are just the pawns.
Yes.
So you are essentially shedding almost innocent lives. The people you should be targeting are the ones in command, because they're the ones that are actually the ones in charge of, and are advocating for this bloodshed in most cases. So.
Yeah, it's not.
People never want war. Yeah.
It's not the best form of problem solving. Let's say.
Yeah.
Physical war.
The thing is that this is going to be an unpopular opinion as well, but World War II, as an example, is the fact that, like in the United States, I've been watching a few TV shows about the Second World War recently. In the case of um, the United States. Actually, the United States never wanted to go into the war, but it turns out because of FDR winning the election, they were like, okay, we need to help our allies, um, help the allies in Europe and Japan and everything. So because of that, then people went into war. Otherwise, they would have avoided it altogether, with the U.S. being in isolationism and everything. If you think about the Germans didn't want war either. Basically, after the First World War, what happened was their economy was so crippled that they were sort of sold to the false hope that they would get more if they would, build this like German empire sort of thing. And because of that, then their country could once become as prosperous as it used to be back in the day. So the thing is that both sides, the common people never really wanted war, but the common people were the ones who suffered from it. Why? Because of the higher in commands.
Hmm. That's. I mean, that sort of top down, let's say, structure of a nation, let's just put it like that,
Yeah, I
is
would say
still
so.
present. Is still present today, essentially. I think,
Yeah.
to a degree, not. Yes, to a degree. I'll put it like that's relative.
Yeah, because the thing is that like people like looking for inspiration, people like to be inspired, and people like promises of success. So because of that, then it's very possible. The thing is, that I studied a little bit of psychology as well, so because of that, people it's very possible to influence people in ways that they do not want to be influenced if you are convincing enough.
Mm.
So
Mm. But that also the only I think. Yeah, I mean,
it's also very common in marketing, actually.
I
That's why
bet.
we have that's why we have a culture of consumerism.
I bet. I think. Yeah, for sure. I bet if you're good at understanding the structure of the human mind and how it functions, how it's configured in a way that the average person doesn't understand about themselves, then you can kind of do what you want to a degree.
It's
Yeah,
scary to think about.
it is.
Yeah.
That's why we need some heroes in the marketing realm like you to to redeem the oppressive mate.
My Wi-Fi died.
No problem, dude.
Yeah, are we still recording?
Yeah, we're still on.
All right. So what was the question you were asking me?
No, I was just saying that it would basically be good to replace the tyrannical marketers who want to exploit the individuals of society for their own personal gain with those who don't want to exploit.
Well, the thing is, on one hand, people are getting smarter. So or not become, well, I would say more aware of marketing tactics. So because of that, then these things are not going to work as effectively as they once used to.
Hmm.
So the thing is that marketing as well is sort of transitioning itself to be more nuanced and disguised.
Hmm.
It's really interesting, and I can go on and on about it, but I don't know if you have time for this
Wait.
in this
Yeah,
podcast. But
explain what do you mean with nuanced and disguise?
so the thing is that right now there's this whole shift in marketing from like to customer centricity, at least in theory. So because of that, the thing is that like if you are a new company or if you're relatively a new player in the market, you have to sort of maintain customer centricity just to keep your customers engaged, because market saturation is becoming ever more prevalent.
So you basically you cannot run the risk of harming your clients, basically.
I mean, the thing is that if you have a monopoly or if you're like in an upper position, then of course it's still possible. Like Facebook, for example, like I'm not gonna get into it, but then their ads platform is horrendous. But because like it's so successful and so big in the market that people don't really have much of a choice but to use it.
How is it horrendous?
Oh, just the UI is clunky. The help center is pathetic. Chat support's non-existent in most cases. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, that's good to know.
and they have so many rules that you're never really informed of, and they don't have any guidelines as to how you can actually learn about these things except for their courses, which are very time consuming. So
Dude, I think it's time for a hero to break the outdated, slow
Yeah, just as an
status quo.
example, so for example, like nowadays with more nuanced marketing would be the fact that, like, let's say product placements or sponsorships or things like just like reviews, influencers using products, these kinds of things, like
Mhm.
you wouldn't necessarily always think that there's selling you something, but they are, whether you like it or not. Even if someone just posts like an Instagram picture with like the really cool t-shirt or whatever, people are gonna ask, oh, where did you get that? And then you're gonna be like, yeah, I got it at this person, and then everyone will just flock to them,
It's
as an
basically
example.
impossible to not sell something,
That, yeah,
because
that's the
even
thing.
if you're butt naked, you're selling a look of your physique, or even if you're no brand clothing, you're still selling the type of hairstyle or the look.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So it's become very nuanced. It's very interesting.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm no expert in any of this, so I can't talk about it. So,
Yeah.
but that's if anybody listening needs
Marketing advice, I'm the
marketing
guy.
wisdom, contact DJ.
I used to have a Zoom background about this. Like, it's used to say, if you need help with marketing, and like an arrow pointing to me.
Dude, I never saw that one.
It was on my old piece, on my old laptop, but I should create it on this one as well.
That's sick. Yeah, you should put that back on. Dope. Okay, I think we're gonna wrap up now.
Okay.
Thanks, dude. We did some really good analysis in this episode.
I'm
We
hoping it was
covered.
useful. Yeah.
It was, dude. I can tell. I'm you had very. You're good at articulating yourself, dude. You know that, like. You have answers sort of on hold that you're ready to. You've formulated your own opinion, which is super great. I mean, it's great for my channel. I'm very happy because it's actually something like strong value to listen
Strong
to.
value. Yeah. This is something that I tend to prioritize quite a lot. The thing is that, like, it's really funny because I was actually telling this to somebody yesterday, how going back to the marketing example, like we always tend to look at marketing from like a business perspective, a design perspective, a consumer perspective, all of that. But the thing is that you can combine all approaches. And this is what I like to do. Like, I like to combine approaches from different fields and sort of make it like interdisciplinary, basic core concepts,
Mm.
because like the same thing with self-development, it's two sides of the same thing, duality once again. So
Yeah, I think honestly, it's dangerous to say a statement like this because it's a big one, but in essentially all aspects of life, the more you have integrated the full bandwidth, the full spectrum of the duality, then you are more whole. You're just better off, whether
yeah,
it's in like knowledge wise, skills wise, anything. You're always
exactly.
better off.
I actually made a note of this yesterday in preparation for my meeting earlier. So basically, for example, like with the guild right now, we focus on very different creative fields. And the thing is that sometimes you might think, okay, what does illustration have to do with photography, or what does or user experience design have to do with graphic design, for example? But the thing is that it's interrelated. So the thing is that like one field, some insights can be applied in a different field, which in turn can be applied from a different field. And basically, for example, like search engine optimization influences your UX design, which influences your UI, which in turn influences your search engine optimization once again. And that can also be influenced by photography, copywriting, these sort of things, from a marketing perspective once again. So nothing is independent anymore. Everything sort of relies and takes something from a different field. It's just a different way of framing it, or a different perspective that you approach.
It's basically like a holistic perspective.
It's a holistic perspective, exactly. And the thing is that this is something I've always tried to I have really learned to value, especially in the past year or two.
Mm. I think what that boils down to is getting a better grasp on the nature of reality. Because you said, well, now things are all interconnected. I think what really has occurred is things have always been interconnected, but now we just see it.
Or now we're putting frameworks to it, rather, in
Yeah.
business school.
Uh-huh. That's what we learned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dope. Awesome. Is there anything else you want to say? Any last words?
I think there was one thing I wanted to mention real quick, because the thing is that I feel like right now, with this world with over 8 billion people, I think sometimes it's very easy to really lose sight of who one person is, or who it's supposed to be, by different things like societal expectations, or by certain standards that they have to live up to and everything. A final word of advice would just, be your true self, because that's where you shine the brightest. Cheesy as it may sound, this is just the best advice I can give.
Dude.
Focus on where you make an impact, and just like shine there, you know.
Yeah. Stop looking outside of yourself and start existing as yourself. That's, yeah, no matter how cheesy it is, it's a good people. It's a cliche because it's true. It's, it's accurate.
But
So
once again, with duality, you can't entirely focus on yourself. Sometimes you need the external environment to keep yourself in check, but just do what you can with what you can.
Yeah. That's very, very, it's a good way to summarize our whole talk, actually.
Yeah.
That's dope advice. Awesome. I mean, man, thanks a lot for taking the time to talk to me and sharing your wisdom today. I really appreciate it. I think there's a lot that people could learn from what you had to say, especially with the how to deal with pressure from.
Thanks for having me.
Dude, I'm always down to have these discussions.
Honestly, like it was a lot of reflection, actually, like when just thinking about these questions as well, and I'm just actually very happy that I could actually share them.
Awesome. I think like one of the key reasons I wanted to start this channel is just to process and formulate what in the world is going on in reality. And when you talk about these things, when you reflect, you bring clarity to what's going on, and not necessarily outside in the world, but like within. So I think I'm super happy that it brought you some value, and mean that it was a win-win, that you could sort of reflect on the question.
Of course, yeah. Keep going, keep being you. You know, you're doing a great job by doing these things, and I think it's a lot of people can really appreciate that.
Thanks, dude. That's keeps me motivated, and I'll try to keep going and keep this keep churning out this content. So
perfect.
Okay, so everybody, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you could learn something, and I'll see you on the next episode of We Need to Talk. Goodbye.